You're listening to Stories to Create with your host, Cornell Bunting. Author, motivational speaker, and founder of ES Each Episode. Cornell sits down with inspiring voices to uncover the stories that shape who we are and who we're becoming. Get ready to listen, learn, and be inspired. The show starts now.
Cornell Bunting here with Stories to Create podcasts. Our guest today is an highly effective STEM educator for over 10 years with a track record of improving school performance through practical training and curriculum. She teaches classes and mentors employees in both extensive and one-on-one settings. An engaging presenter, adaptable, a complex problem solver, and a decisive leader with excellent organization and communication skills. Ladies and gentlemen, Kimberly James.
As I keep going. Hello. I'm so happy to be here.
We're happy to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
I am blessed and highly favored. You know what's going on. People have lost their homes, their jobs, their cars, everything. Just being able to be in a position to be here with you today and drive here and be able to shower and have warm cooked food. That's a blessing alone. So,
I like that. She's blessed and highly favored. I like that. I should consider myself in that same boat as well. So now you have a culture of Jamaica, and then you got it mixed with the America. Bring us back a little bit.
So I'm going to chat some part of your second. So born and raised in Jamaica.
Yes.
So, yes, I was born in 89 in a parish called Hanover, Lucy.
Hanover, okay.
My father is from Negril, my mother from an area called Cold Spring. So if you know, like Jamaica, where Hopewell is, well, if you know where Montego Bay is a big city, so most people know there.
Yes.
But a little bit past that is Hopewell. And there's an old like shipwreck on the side called Old Steamer. Right after that is that golfing place, and down that up that way, Great Valley Way.
Okay.
Cold Spring is where I grew up. So
now for listeners that's wondering, is there a spring there that you can go and?
Yes, but it has dried up. So about 8 years ago, I went back and I visited, and just like climate change.
Yeah.
So the spring.
Oh man.
Dried up.
So when you were younger, did you get to like do the river, where you go to the river? Did you go?
Yeah, man, I go mango walk, everything, of course. So, growing up in the country, just being able to be in such a beautiful and rich environment, right? The topography, the mountains, like you said, the waterfalls, the springs, just beautiful. Going to the beaches, we have always on the Travel Channel, you see Jamaica, best beaches in the world.
Clean.
And everything, pretty and nice.
Yes.
So, no, I love my country, and I left there when I was about 12. And,
Okay.
But I do remember a lot of it.
Did you ever had to carry water in bucket on your head?
Yes, I had to wear the school uniform. So I went to a school called Merlinati, and then in Hopewell it was Bethel Primary. But we had school uniform, and I had to go to the. We had a well though at my house, but no, I had to bathe in a cold water, and those were the days.
Those were the days.
Walk, go everywhere. Walk everywhere. I was fit.
And I know. I know you just mentioned your school, and I know our listeners going to be like, Merlinati, that kind of ring a bell. What can you say about Merlinati?
Well,
that
she's my cousin.
Remember?
She is, yes, we're related. What's up, Addies? So, Merlinati in Pondside is where I went to school. My parents taught there, actually. So both my parents were educators. My dad's a musician. My mom now is a nurse. But we had a very strong impact in that community, not just because most of them are family, but because that's just the culture of how
Yeah.
I was raised and just how Jamaicans are. We always look out for each other and try to
Yes.
help out and
Yes.
improve. So I've always had that type of background.
So back then, would you say guinep, guava, mango, plum? Which one was your favorite?
What a purple one called star apple.
Oh, star apple, yes.
With the jelly something.
Yes,
Yeah, the one
yes.
that was actually that would have been like top. You know the one, right? The
Yeah,
soft
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, the
star
soft
apple,
one.
right? The
Star
soft
apple,
one,
yeah, yeah.
With the black flat sharp seed. Okay,
Yes,
that one.
yes.
Mango and guinea would be probably my three, and I can't put them. I'm in love Neesberry too.
Neesberry.
So
There
yeah,
you go.
those would have been my favorites.
Oh my goodness! How about that ackee though?
Yeah, man, ackee and saltfish all day.
So you're a big fan and in agreement with Jamaica having
and I
that
can
as a
cook it
national
too.
dish.
So if you love food, oh yes.
Ooh. Now, would you say that goes well with like dumpling, banana, or rice?
I've never been really the rice type with it,
Okay.
so I'm sorry anyone that I'm offending. I know you guys loving an ackee and sitting with the rice, but that's not me. They love it with the white rice, and I personally don't like white rice at all.
Yeah.
So I like my rice on peas with my meat and stuff. So no, I'm a cooked food type of person with my ball dumpling, milk, or Irish, me, the banana.
Yeah.
Or with fried dumpling or festival. That's how I like it, with some fried plantain and pear on the side, or avocados for you Americans.
Now, what was the transition like from Jamaica to here in America?
I had to learn code switching very, very early in life, because even during this interview, you're going to hear me switch back and forth.
Right.
My family call it Americanized, but for me, I had to learn, because it was, oh, how do you say this? Oh, your accent is so nice. Oh, this. And I'm like, oh, so I really didn't.
Yeah.
I did not like being singled out just for that. I didn't mind talking about my culture, and pride is something, we're very proud people.
Yeah.
But just like most of us grown people, I've had to kind of consolidate and get with the status quo and clean up my accent a little bit. But any of my students know, they definitely have heard it. They've heard it. Like, sit down. Yeah. And I'm like, that's not what I said. Yeah. That's not what I said.
Now, at that age when you came, like, did you have a lot of kids that wanted to become your friend because of how you sound?
I'm not sure if that's what it was. I think it's my personality. But it could have been. I think to this day it happens. I think people are attracted to us, Jamaicans. I mean, we're one of the best Caribbean islands out there, so.
I like that. Now, what made you wanted to go into the field where you get to teach individual how to be their better self?
I've always been that type of person. Growing up as the eldest of three girls, I've always had the leadership, second parent type of role, so it's kind of been singed in me. And I think personality-wise also. So if you are familiar with like the Myers and Briggs 16 personality test, I'm like the protagonist. So I love to serve others. I'm very reliable. I'm very... just all the characteristics that came up with that really was me to the T. I feel like life should be like us reaching that utmost fulfillment, right? And helping and serving others and bringing that out of them is the best thing that I can ever do. So I love that.
So would you say like any of the TV shows or movies that you grew up on helped to kind of...
Well, in Jamaica, we only had 2 channels in a country girl. So what I said was, in Jamaica, we only had 2 channels. It was TVJ and JVC.
Yes.
Cartoons only came on. I love cartoons back then. So like some Thundercats, some Sailor Moon. That was my thing back then. Tom and Jerry. But no, it was, I didn't really grow up with a lot of TV, but I do remember a lot of the music though. I will not sing the words because it was during the 90s, you should know them times with Buju and Luciano and Pierre Dancehall times. So, they think it's bad now, but back then it was, people were like, oh, that's what the youth doing now and blah, blah, blah. It was just always something. But I definitely remember the music, and my father being a musician even from back then was always impactful on me.
Did you ever get to go to any of those shows?
Of course, all the time. I'd be like, huge, you know how we do it in Jamaica. So it'd be outside with them huge black speakers.
Yes.
I'd be the one in the corner sleeping. I was like, do, because they all the time. Them call it bleach. Yeah, bleach tonight. Not
Yes.
bleach like the complexion, because that is a thing in Jamaica, not that. But bleaching, I think, was back then the term was like staying up late or something was how my father referred to it as. But I sure did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now,
Fried fish and bammy at night.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
now here, the Jamaican community, how big is that like here?
On the East Coast, it's a lot compared to here.
Okay.
My church has a lot of Jamaicans, so
Okay.
shout out to Nazbeth.
Okay.
No, I don't really see a lot of Jamaicans that much compared to when I go to on the other coast. But,
Okay. Okay.
I love seeing my people and being around my people.
I love that. I love that. And, so people have always wanted to understand why we eat curry goat. What would you take beyond that?
They always make a face of like goat. I'm like, yes, like lamb.
Yeah.
That's where the scientists in me come out. I'm like, similar species. So it's it's like cow and a ox. Yes, like cow and a ox.
Right.
Like a boar and a pig.
Right.
They're very similar in a lot of ways. So I say, well, if you can eat lamb and lamb chops and stuff, it's the same thing.
Right.
And curry is a part of our culture. So, Jamaicans, we have a little bit of Asian, a little bit of Indian, and then we have, the East African and West African kind of influence on us, with our food, So we're going to have a little bit of everything. So,
Right.
yeah. But I love some curry goat, but I prefer manish water.
Yeah. So everyone that's probably listening right now be like, what is manish water? You got to break it down.
You know how to Google everything else, Google it. Be self-sufficient. Google.
Listeners, I'm going to help you guys. It's soup. She's talking about soup, okay? And they put some goat meat in the soup and manish water. Now, here, with everything that you're doing in the education field, how would you feel with everything that's going on with a lot of the paradigm shift that we have now and younger gens have a different view than what you would probably say millennial has?
Whether or not we have different views, we all still have roles in society to keep us afloat. So either way, several roads lead to Rome type of thing. So you can, have your own thought process and, you can have your own shift in cultural or, societal or status quo situations. That's fine. But at the end of the day, there's still work that needs to be done. And that is, a loaded statement. But what I mean by that is, when we grew up, it was, you have to go to college. Education is the key to success type of thing, right? And we were not taught, even to this day in the traditional educational system, we're not taught any skills to, for me, I have a degree in biochemistry. So I took, for instance, Calc 1, Calc 2, trigonometry. I stopped at differential equations. He's looking at me like, what's that?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, especially in the sciences, maths and all that, highly educated. Took a statistics class, took economics 1 and 2. And I had to teach myself how to do my taxes. I had to teach myself the process with applying for a home loan and what percent and, all that type of stuff. And these are skills that every person, should have, right? The American dream or whatever, right? And, how to get a car, are you worrying about the payment or the percent of, the value of the vehicle or whatever, your whatever. It's just, these are skills that any person that's lived and come to these milestones in their lives, getting a car, getting a house, job applications. These are things that were not available to me growing up, so being able to connect different resources in the community and bringing that back to the kids, that's really important. So, I'm the eldest, like I said, of 3 girls. My youngest sister, she's 20, if I'm turning. She's 23.
Okay.
So don't do any math. Don't Google. Don't need to look into that. But she's in her early 20s, and she is definitely a Gen Zer. but I also validate a lot of what they say is true. You don't have to go to school,
Right.
to be successful. You can go and be a millionaire, and it doesn't have to be, sports or music or that outlet. You can be an entrepreneur. You can do what I'm doing, which is now educational consulting.
Right.
After teaching for 10
Right.
years straight and having, a salary and going through that process. So,
Right.
it's just about having that understanding, having discipline,
Right.
which school does teach.
Yeah.
If you're going into a field, for instance, down the road, like a field that you need to be highly skilled at, like a doctor, you do need to go to school for that. So, I take everything with a grain of salt, right?
Yeah.
We were molded by our parents, which were like boomer types, right?
Right,
That were
right.
like, hard work is how you earn money. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, the richest of us don't work. They have residual income while they
Right.
sleep, they make money.
Yeah.
That's actually how you become, rich and build wealth, right?
Right.
You see it all the time. These
Yeah.
rappers or whatever, they get all this money and then they're broke.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
retire and their kids have nothing to show for it.
Right.
Versus a person that understands the market and understands, the system,
Mhm.
right? You can take everything from them, give them $10,000, and they'll be able to build it back up eventually. So
Yeah.
it's about having those tools and the knowledge to be
Right.
successful. And I don't care how you get about it, but our society will crumble if we don't have any doctors, if we don't have anyone, building our homes, because I don't know how to build a house as smart as I am. I don't understand like the structural components and all that. I would not be able to, like, maybe a shed
Right.
with some sticks and leaves. Water will still come through
Right.
unless I have a tarp.
Yeah.
Figure it out. I can put your tent. I'm like, we have still roles in society that need to be fulfilled. So at the end of the day, if this shift of, and my sister, she's like, yeah, we're not lazy. We're just, it doesn't have to be your way. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be our way,
Right.
but there are some truths to life. There are some, we can't all be on a yacht partying and
Yeah.
having fun, or having our dream job. Sometimes you have to struggle in order to learn and explore, build connections, whatever. So I do get into it a lot with the Gen Zers. They
Yeah.
definitely and they're very idealistic and judgmental, like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, be happy you weren't raised by our parents,
Right.
because we're trying to bet where soft parenting came from, not
Yeah.
from our parents.
Yeah.
Not from our parents.
Now, all you sisters, did they come to America with you?
Yes. So we all came up around that age. So I was around 12. The youngest was around like 3 or so.
Okay.
So so we all came up. But I was in England for like 2-3 years before that, though. So I did live there for a few years.
Okay.
before
Okay.
that.
Okay. So you had a good relationship with your sisters? You
Yes.
didn't
One of
beat
them
up on
passed
them?
away last year from an autoimmune disease called lupus. So yeah, I
Okay.
did lose a sister last year.
Sorry.
Tomorrow actually is her birthday. So that's going to be,
You're gonna do some celebrating.
yeah, I'm going to probably go to the beach and release one of those Chinese lanterns for her or
Nice.
something. So yeah.
Nice. That'll be awesome.
But yeah, I have had 2 younger sisters. I have one.
Yeah.
So
And you still get to talk to her a lot.
oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
This is good.
She doesn't
Now-
like to hear everything I have to say. She's like, you're always parenting me. And I'm like, you're forever going to be, I don't care what age you are.
Yeah.
I'll be 80, you'll be 70. You're still going to be my baby sister.
Now, is mom still around and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You still get to talk to her.
Mom and dad.
This is beautiful. Now, where you see, like, with what's going on with a lot of the youths right now, that comes out of a lot of these, they would say, less fortunate communities, when it comes to the education level and their patience of wanting to understand the importance of that.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Every young person carries a story of hope, of struggle, of dreams waiting to rise. But in too many underserved communities, those stories go unheard.
At ease, Inc. Everyone has a story. We believe every voice deserves a chance. Through mentorship, empowering programs, and storytelling workshops, we help youth discover their purpose, strengthen their mindset, and build a future they can be proud of.
From classrooms in Jamaica to communities across Southwest Florida,
ES is changing lives.
one story at a time.
But we can't do it alone. Join us, become a mentor, volunteer, donate, help us fuel the next generation of leaders, creators, and change makers.
Visit ahasink.org today, because when you help a young person share their story, you help them change their world.
I don't think it's up to the child, right? It's up to the community and up to the people in charge of educating that child, which would be, the parents, of course. It starts with the home, whether it's grandparents, aunties, whatever, because not every, one has that same construct.
Right.
But then teachers should be next, right?
Yeah.
I do put it on that because not every child is going to have that innate, desire
Right.
to learn and thrive and be that way. Some are like, come on, man, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And what our job is to do is to instill and to show, the importance of valuing, a skill or a field or whatever. And that's where I think the disconnect between millennials and Gen Zers are. It's like there is a way we can bridge that gap, but it's not, you cannot box people and things in.
Right.
There's a laziness though. I definitely see, a shift in that, they want their dream job without having to, go through anything really first. And I do see that in my experience in the classroom. If it's a topic they love, they'll be engaged, they'll do everything. And if it's something they don't like, and I'm like, you can't be all beyond feelings and how you feel, because that changes. What upsets you right now, 2 weeks later, you probably won't even remember about it.
Yeah.
So a little bit more emotional.
Yeah.
And no, they're very interest driven, but I think a lot of it stems from just the cultural shift. You give a 2-year-old right now an iPad or a phone, and most of them know how to use it.
Right.
That those types of things influence people's attention spans and what can hold their attention and engagement. So I do believe that, of course, it starts from the home. When your child starts asking questions and it sparks discussions, pull up a video, go look up a book or go outside and have, discuss, educate your child, give them what you know. And then when they go to school, teachers should do that. They should instill in the child, engage the child, find a hook, find a connection with what the child likes and what's going on, right?
Yeah.
If the child doesn't want to hear about the scientific method and how you measure things or whatever, maybe talk about the sales of their 2 favorite rappers. Bring
Right.
that up. Have them have to put the data into the chart. I bet you they'll pay attention then.
Right.
So it's just about finding that connection, bridging that gap, right? In interest and in ideologies, really.
What's that one music you go to, like when you just want to be fired up for the day?
I don't really, my pastor might be watching. I don't really listen to secular music that often. Mostly contemporary gospel.
Okay.
So,
So if I was to pull you out, like this artist that's a little bit before your time, well, maybe a lot bit before your time, Bob Marley.
Oh, I love me some Bob.
Yeah. You feel like a lot of his pieces that he did was very forefront or educated to a lot of people.
Of course, I think that's what makes his music so, it's still around to this day. People still know him, vibe with his music. He talked about things like freeing yourself from mental slavery and that only ourselves can free our minds, that we can't rely on others to break those barriers because most of those barriers come from within ourselves, right?
Right.
It talks about being stolen from our homeland and being stripped of our culture and our knowledge. It talks about love. He talks about, waiting in vain for it. He's transcendent. He transcends time. I love me some Bob.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at someone and they ask you about faith, what would you say to them?
It's not by sight. It's the complete opposite of what I went to school for. It's not something you can prove or study. It's something literally that you have to believe in without having any proof of its existence. But that belief can be brought into fruition. You can be, you have faith in something that's not there yet and still make it happen, So a lot of people, that's a word that I would love to see come back, faith. It's like I said, not by sight.
I love that, man. And I hope you guys heard everything she said. If you didn't, just rewind your tape and play it again, because that was some beautiful gems right there. Now, with a lot going on with religion and a different type of religion, do you ever find yourself caught up into all that stuff that's going on?
No. My youngest sister, she's actually like polysexual. She's very open with herself and out there. And, we talk about faith and God all the time. For me, as long as you believe in something higher, I can respect that.
Yeah.
I read this book one time. It was discussing like a culture that was not like Abrahamic faith. So it wasn't like, Judaism or Catholicism or Christianity, none of that.
Yeah.
But they were talking about how, if you're a good person throughout your life, you'll cross this bridge and you'll be light enough. Your spiritual, energy will be light enough to cross over to the other side.
Right.
But if you, do horrible things, you're weighted down. So you'll actually fall off or break through the bridge and you won't make it across. For me, something as simplistic as that is just beautiful. It shows just a higher. So I don't care if you say Allah, if you say God, Yeshua, I don't care, whatever you say, it's as long as you believe in something more.
Yeah.
Again, it's faith, right? Having faith in that. So, but for me, people are like, well, how can you teach evolution or this or that? And I'm like, it's God said, let there be, and there was.
Yeah.
Big bang.
So there's still a lot. There's still a lot to that where a lot of people we disagree, we agree, all that stuff. But it's
But they're two totally different things, right? I would never jump out of a plane without a parachute and say, Jesus, save me, because I know the laws that affect our planet, right?
Right.
But I also believe in miracles.
Yes.
So
it's, we just went through this Hurricane Ian, and people were like, why did these people that were told to leave certain parts that would be dangerous didn't leave because they were thinking, God is going to help them. What would you even say on that?
it's always sad, right, to see people go through, whether they deserved it or not. It's sad to see people go through pain, discomfort, loss, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's not a matter of, did they listen or didn't they listen? It's a matter of how can we rebuild and support them? How can we put systems in place to prevent that from happening again?
Right.
Something like weather, earthquake detection, the science behind that is still iffy, right? Because, for instance, hurricanes, low pressure system going over water, it fluctuates. We don't know the exact temperature of the ocean in that specific area exactly.
Right.
It's not how data collection works. So by formulating different systems and plans to be more impactful, to really, the same way they have people out there right now making sure, there weren't bodies floating around.
Right.
We could have maybe had people go door to door, the same way FEMA has, residents set up and they can go out and do things or whatever, have that, and where they're going down their neighborhood and making sure it's clear, but no one deserves going through that, even though they had fair warning, and some maybe they didn't know where to go.
Right.
Maybe, like I said, resources weren't clear,
Now bring us back to a day when it was not a good day for you.
Well,
Like everything went wrong that day.
I mean, when my sister passed, I think that's one of the worst days.
Okay.
That's automatically what I think of. Her birthday's tomorrow, so for me, it's like, okay. So she passed last year of lupus. She had an aneurysm, so it wasn't directly from her lupus, but her veins and vessels over time kind of like wore down, and they weren't as strong. So kind of like a bubble happened, and it busted, and that was just kind of like out of nowhere. So for me, there's no day in my life that'll ever be worse than that. So that's an automatic for me. But I'll see her again one day.
Yes.
I do believe in the spiritual and something after this. Flesh sheds and deteriorates and goes back to the earth. I do believe in something more. So.
Do you ever go back to Jamaica just to?
Yeah, I was there in August.
Yeah.
Had a family reunion.
So you went back home, like to where you?
Yes. Now, I didn't stay up the country because the mosquitoes and the lack of AC, I'm Americanized now, like I said. So I did not, I couldn't stay up in the bushes for the whole time, but I sure was out there.
How aggressive are those mosquitoes?
The crazy part is I didn't even really feel that they were biting me until afterwards. My whole hand, everything swollen. I'm like, when was this happening? But
Yeah.
it was worth it. I'd do it again.
Yeah.
With bug spray, but I'd do
Would you say like a lot of people when they go to like the island of Jamaica, they go to drink some of that coconut water?
Oh, they have to. They have to drink that coconut water. It's, oh my gosh, there's nothing like it's the same with our fruits and stuff. It doesn't taste the same, smell the same. Like here, take 2 lemons or something, rub them together. You can barely smell it. In Jamaica, the lemon will be over here. You can smell it. It's just organic and rich. But you know, try everything. Wash your vegetables first, though, and your fruits. You don't want to have, you don't want to have no problems.
What does the next 5 years look like for Miss James?
Well, according to my family, I should settle down and get married. So if you're out there and you're single and you have a good heart, believing something higher, and you want a good woman with a good head on her shoulders that is ready to be in her feminine energy.
I like that. And of course, she'll still be in the educational field.
Yes.
Working with the kids. I'm really excited, and listen, I'm excited for where you're heading, and a very talented woman. I'm really impressed with all that you're doing.
And work with you.
Yes, this is good. And listen, guys, stay tuned because there's so much more to come. Miss Kimberly, I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
I appreciate your time, sir.
And we will talk again soon.
Me.
You gonna come again?
Yes, for sure.
Listen, there you guys have it. Listen, thank you guys for tuning in for Stories to Create podcast right here at ES Club. Beautiful thing. That was good.
My life in the sunshine. Everybody loves the sunshine. Sunshine. Everybody loves the sunshine. Thanks for tuning in and downloading this episode of Stories to Create. We appreciate you being part of this growing community of storytellers and listeners. If today's conversation inspired you, please share the show with friends, family, or anyone who could use a little motivation in their journey. A special thank you to our sponsors, EHAS Organization, Cornell Bunting LLC, and Nostril Cheese Chase for supporting the mission and making this podcast possible. To learn more about our work, upcoming projects, and how you can get involved, be sure to visit www.hissinggorge and www.cornellbunting.com. Until next time, keep creating, keep growing, and remember, your story has power.